I'll ask you that now. So how does exercise benefit your mental health, I guess, for you individually and for people in general? Obviously, I talk a lot about mental health, so we'll try to we'll try to nail that. Specifically weightlifting training, because I know that's predominantly what you do.
Well, I mean, is there even any other kind of training? I mean, do we even consider like running as training? Does that even count, Ian?
I got asthma, right? So I don't even want to do that stuff.
I mean, I guess it's kind of twofold, right? As a personal trainer, one of the things that we get it a lot is not necessarily, hey, we want to lose a bunch of weight, but you have to delve into why they want to lose a bunch of weight. And sometimes it is physical, like, hey, my doctor told me to come here, I'm 100 pounds obese, and my heart's clogging up, I'm gonna have a heart attack if I don't start losing weight, right? That's one thing that will always be there. The other thing that will always be there is, hey, my confidence is shit, right? I hate myself. I don't like the way I look. I want to change that, and that's all mental right there, right? And
Yeah.
so it's again, and from that perspective, it is twofold. There are a boatload of studies showing that just physical activity in general, and specifically weightlifting and I guess it was anaerobic training in the first place, is greatly beneficial to balancing hormone levels, which will then
Hmm.
therefore it's almost as effective. You can actually get to the gym efficiently and predominantly and consistently. You can cure things like anxiety, depression, stuff like that with weightlifting in some cases, not all cases, but in some cases, right? It can
Hmm.
make it is that big of a deal where it can be competitive to many antidepressants out there, right? And you can do that while also, and the side effects of these drugs like weightlifting are that you get muscular, you get healthier, you get in shape, and you're happy the way you
Right.
look, right? And so if that's something that you're somebody who struggles with depression and anxiety, right? There are so many studies out there to show and prove that going to the gym will immensely help your mental health. Not don't even worry about the physical side of that. Again, think of that as just a side effect. Go to the gym to make yourself happier. Go to the gym to make yourself feel better mentally all the time. And again, that twofold that I was talking about is a lot of people just don't have the confidence, and going to the gym
Hmm.
can bring them confidence. Where even if it's not to the point that you might not lose a lot of weight, but now you just feel better by yourself, right? You're going to the gym, you can perform. You're going to the gym and you do these exercises. You're learning, you're pushing yourself, right? And even if you're not making a ton of strides physically looking, right? Even if you're not making a ton of strides health wise, right? Just the act of going to the gym can bring so many people so much confidence that it helps them get out of a rut and make a big change in their life. I think it's really important.
Hmm. Yeah. To add on to that, I mean, definitely when I struggled with my anxiety the most, like that is what I did. I would go to the gym all the time. Like I was going twice a day pretty often. And during that time, honestly, that's when I felt like pretty much normal. Like I felt my best just in there, just pushing myself. Another thing with you, like you said about the whole confidence thing, weightlifting specifically, I feel like is one of the best ways to build your confidence because whatever weight you're lifting, you're constantly pushing yourself. You're constantly growing. So whether you're lifting, 100 pounds or you're lifting 500 pounds, once you start lifting heavier weight, you feel like a badass. Like that builds your confidence. Just simply like, oh my gosh, like honestly, like oh, I just deadlifted 300 pounds. Like I just lift some heavy shit. Like that feels super good. And so I definitely understand that. Another thing is like going back to the confidence. A lot of times it's like when people aren't confident, I feel like they try to think of ways to be confident, like how, like, looking in the mirror and saying to yourself, oh, like, I'm confident, I'm this, I'm that, I'm great. Like, that doesn't work. Like, I think of baseball, if you're nervous before going up to the plate, no matter how many times you say, I'm a good hitter or I'm going to hit a bomb, like, if you're like nervous, you're not going to actually believe, you're not actually going to commit to that idea. So, when you're consistently like I feel like the only way to build that kind of confidence is to consistently do hard shit where you're like, okay, like this is a hard situation, but I've overcame these kinds of situations in the past. I can handle this one. And that's what weightlifting I think has done for me. Ultimately, like that has helped me so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the exact same perspective as me. This I think the same thing for me and most people that especially do a lot of weight training. In the idea that if you hit a hard point in your life, and I think it's really funny that people rip Arnold Schwarzenegger all the time for doing this, but he compares everything in his life and everything that he goes through to lifting weights, and it's
Mhm.
hilarious, but it's also true to the point that everything you go through in life, right? You can think of as in terms of lifting, right? And
Yep.
if you can go through something difficult in the gym, right, and you can push through hardship, right? And that's what we're most places in our life, right? We're never pushed, right? And if we are pushed, we're pushed, stress wise in very unhealthy ways, right? But if you can go
Mhm.
to the gym and push yourself to failure on a set of whatever, right? Or learn how to push yourself past failure, learn how to work hard, learn how to put forth effort into something that you love, something that you want to do, right? It can make other things even easier, right? So it can teach you discipline more than anything else in the world can, right? Because like going to the gym is a difficult thing to do in the first place, and then going to the gym
Mm.
and performing consistently and working hard consistently is the thing that requires a lot of discipline. And by doing that, you're not only going to train your body, you train your mind, but you also train yourself to have discipline for it, right? And that can lead to having better discipline in everything else in life. So if you're trying to focus on school and you're a procrastinator, right? It can help you be more disciplined, right? Do your homework
Mhm.
on time. Do things ahead of time, right? It can, even small stuff. This like I know a lot of times, like self-help YouTubers and stuff like that will talk about how making your bed in the morning is a big step, right? Because it helps you get started in the day. And it's that same concept, right? Just on a little bigger, more practical scale, in the sense that by just doing something and forcing yourself to do something that maybe you don't want to do,
Mhm.
right, will then force you and allow you to have discipline in other places in your life and start you off the right foot, have you do something consistently, right? And then like what you were talking about again earlier, that how you by just going to the gym 2 days a week makes you feel the best, right? It allows you, and it gives you purpose in life, right?
Yeah.
Where a lot of people, they get up, they go to work, they go home, they watch TV, and there's no real purpose in life. They're not doing anything for themselves, right? And the gym can be one of those places where they can go, they can do something for themselves and really have purpose.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think, like, ultimately, not trying to get too deep or too philosophical, but I think I guess one of the purposes of life, or the purpose of life, I like what Jordan Peterson says, that it's, it's aiming at something and trying to constantly attain that, constantly work towards that virtue, that excellence, whatever it is. In this case, if it's weightlifting, like that consistent progress is where you find, I think, like the fulfillment, honestly. Like every single day. Obviously it's hard at the start, but once you get it to where it's a habit, like where you're not even thinking about going, that's where I've been lately. It's like one of the most rewarding feelings. Like I honestly just love it so much. It's just like you said earlier, it's not even physical anymore. Like obviously I care about how I look physically, but it's so much more mental and just strictly emotional. Like the happiness I get from it, and I know you and other people, it's just I wish people just solely worked out for that, because that is just like an indescribable feeling that, like you said, you don't get from a lot of other places in life.
Right. Yeah, and I think another point you touched on there is how, just seeing progress in the gym. That's actually something that I use most of the time with my clients. Is that, you'll have somebody in there that's coming in 100 pounds overweight, and they immediately want to come in there and start losing weight. And you
Mhm.
got to kind of slow them down a little bit and say, look, all right, we'll get you to lose weight eventually, but we got to get you started first. We got to get your base set first, right? And we've got to get you to a healthy point. And you do that a lot of times in order to show them progress, right? Because they might not see it on the scales at first. They might not see the body fat change. They might not see a lot of that change, what they will see is strength, right? And that's what I'll use first and foremost, is that, hey, you started off doing, goblet squats with a 10-pound kettlebell. Now by
Mhm.
week 4, you're doing the same amount of reps and sets and the same exercise, except you're using 30 pounds, right?
Right.
And that kind of progress, it's convincing, it's evidence that, hey, you are improving, you are making progress, right? Even if you don't see it on the scale yet, you are making progress. Keep it up, and it will work in the long term.